Hi, and welcome to this special Chinese Lunar New Year episode of Kidney Plugged In.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanya, registered dietitian, and I am so excited that you are joining us here today as we celebrate the flavors of Lunar New Year. As you may know, Lunar New Year is all about the different foods and dishes, and many of the dishes hold symbolic meaning. The 4 dishes that we are going to make today would be steamed fish, which is representative of abundance. The second one being stuffed peppers with shrimp, shrimp being representative of happiness. And the third one, we are going to be making noodles, which is symbolic for long life. The last one, but not least, we're doing red bean soup, which is something sweet to end your meal with. So with that said, let's get started in the kitchen.
Hello, good evening everybody. It's great to be here. My name is Dani Renouf, and I'm a registered dietitian. It's such a pleasure to be celebrating Lunar New Year with you in this amazing way, cooking together. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, dear friend and colleague, Anja Webster, registered dietitian, and our very special guest, Tanya Choy, registered dietitian and expert in everything related to Asian cookery, cuisine. She'll go through everything from nutritional benefits of the foods that we're going to make to their cultural symbolism and history. So we're just so excited to have her here with us. Thank you so much for being here. Anja, what are we cooking tonight?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. So today we're going to be starting off the night with preparing a sweet red bean soup, and then we're going to go on into our Chinese stuffed peppers. Then we'll move on to some long life noodles, and we'll finish the night with a braised fish. Tanya will be going through the first 2 recipes with us and explaining some of the cultural and significance behind why we chose each ingredient.
Tanya, we're going to hand over to you to get started.
Yeah, we're gonna start this dinner off with dessert first because it does take the longest to make, but at the end of most Chinese banquets or at the end of each meal, we'll probably want something sweet, and so you will find red bean soup at the end of most meals. And what I love about it is because the ingredients are simple, it's just red beans, so adzuki beans, with some of this dried mandarin peel. And there is a bit of a competition when it comes to this. I mean, the older the better in this case, the more flavorful. And so I think there are households that have 30-year-old mandarin peels, some are 10 years, but the older the better. If you're gonna use them, you wanna soak them for about 20 minutes or so, and then you take a knife off and you scrape off the inner side just because there can be a little bit of bitterness to it. If you don't have mandarin peel, it's not a big deal. You can definitely have some orange that you just grate into it at the very end. So without further ado, I wanna share with you some of the ingredients. So what we've done is we've taken a cup of red adzuki beans and we've gone and soaked them overnight. And what's great about this is that you're gonna be leaching out some of the potassium from the beans, and then you're also going to be helping with some of the gas. And so what you wanna do is that you wanna be rinsing off the beans afterwards, which I've gone ahead and done that for you as well. So these are soaked overnight for 12 hours, and then I've also gone and washed and rinsed them, and you can see that they're actually much more plump than the dried adzuki beans. And so that's what you want. It's gonna cook a lot faster. And then the next thing was that dried mandarin peel, which I have soaked for about 20 minutes. And this one actually, because it's a very old mandarin orange peel, it doesn't actually have much of that white inner bitterness part, so I don't need to scrape it off. We're gonna have a big pot. Go ahead and put the red beans in here.
Can people use red bean paste if they have not soaked the red beans overnight?
I've never tried myself, but I can't see why not.
Right.
And red bean paste, I mean, you're your own chef at home, so for this you could adjust the water to your liking. So if you use red bean paste, I would assume that you would use You could try off with 6 cups of water first if it's for 1 cup of paste. I've used 1 cup of soaked red beans, and then I've used about 7 cups of water here. But as it boils, it evaporates. Sometimes if I'm trying to save time, then I use my Instant Pot, which takes about 30 minutes instead of an hour. And then I'm just going to take the mandarin peel here. I've also had some crystallized rock sugar here that you put at the end when the beans are almost done. And in Chinese, we call this dish hong bao sa, and sa means sand. And so it actually has a little bit of that grainy texture. And I find that you could either use an immersion blender, you could use, I actually found that a potato masher works really well. So you could just mash it to your liking. Oftentimes this is used, people put, say, condensed milk or, say, evaporated milk on it, which actually does have phosphate additives. And so coconut milk is often paired with red bean soup as well. But I have found a coconut milk beverage that is low in potassium that you could also use to flavor without the high potassium. So we'll go ahead and pop this over onto the stove over here.
So one thing that's kind of cool about using orange zest, right, or lemon zest, is that it's actually the fat in the zest that's creating a lot of flavor. And so that's how you can build flavor into the foods that you're eating, like zesting lemon or zesting citrus, without any problems, right, for your health.
We're just gonna let it boil, and then once it comes to a boil, we're just gonna turn it down to a simmer.
Okay.
And then we want it down to a simmer so that the beans are still dancing in the water.
Okay,
so we're gonna go ahead
perfect.
and do that, and I like to keep the lid ajar so that it doesn't boil over. So we'll just wait for it to boil.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
So once you've finished making this dish, it looks like what you've got there for us, right?
Yeah. If you want it to be a little bit more thick, you can have less water.
Yeah,
And
so
then
it's kind of thickish, yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of sugar, you can do it to your own liking. I've done about a 1/4 cup of rock sugar, and then if you need, you could use your preferred sweetener.
Wonderful. And how do you serve it with the coconut milk?
So you could drizzle it on top, or I put it all together. So you could do this all together, and then you take a spoon, and then you could just stir it around. And then actually in the summertime, if you have this with some crushed ice and some coconut beverage, it actually tastes really good put together.
And what are some of the nutritional benefits of this dish? Like we always, as dietitians, love to tout nutrition, right?
Yeah, so in one serving, you've got 3 grams of fiber, and not a lot of desserts can tout that. So that's what I love about it. It's very satisfying. It's got like a light hint of sweetener. It's economical, and it's got fiber, which is great for your gut and great for keeping you full and satisfied.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This recipe is so simple, and it's just so beautiful. The colors are so rich, and it's high in nutrition. So I hope everyone will give it a try.
Hey, honey, I lost the list for Jason's birthday thing. Obviously, hamburger, cakes. No, not hamburger cakes. Hamburgers and cake. And buns, sausage.
Okay. Ooh, eye candy.
Is it a full moon tonight? People are being weird. And don't forget to make the Facebook event private this time. Okay, bye.
Can you imagine losing most of something without realizing it? Over time, kidney disease can destroy up to 80% of kidney function before you notice any symptoms. Talk to your family doctor to see if you're at risk and need to be screened. It could save your life.
Okay, perfect. So Tanya, over to you again.
Okay, so we've got stuffed peppers. And so the types of peppers that we want to be using, I call them lucky peppers. It's the kind where it's got a bit more of a curve area so that you could put more shrimp inside. And so this symbolism of shrimp, in Chinese we say ha, and so ha also sounds like you're laughing, ha ha ha. And so it's a symbolism for happiness. And so the more lucky your pepper, it's more rounded, you put more happiness inside of your sweet pepper. And so, so this is actually something that's really simple to make. A lot of times you would actually buy fish paste at your local Asian grocery store, but then just with a few ingredients, I'm gonna show you how to make it on your own. And then that way you can have a lot more control over the ingredients, the salt, and to be sure that there's no additives. And so we have chosen to use shrimp today. You might know this already, but a lot of frozen shrimp has phosphate additives. And where you look for this would be, for example, in the ingredients list on the back of the tape, on the back of the package. So there's a nutrition fact table, and then there's the ingredients list. So most likely it'll say shrimp, salt, tripolyphosphate. So anything with the word phosphate would mean that it has a phosphate additive inside. And if you're trying to watch your phosphate levels, that might be something you would want to watch out for. The key to keeping the paste inside the peppers is to actually put a little bit of the cornstarch inside, like this, so that it doesn't fall out.
So how did you get this paste together?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you how I do that. This is part of the happiness bit too. So first I'm gonna just show you when you can actually get your shrimp already deshelled and then also deveined. But here, I'm just gonna grab a chopstick here. And then what I do is I just kind of poke in here.
Could we get a close-up just to show the group how to clean the shrimp? Because a lot of people don't know how to clean the shrimp.
Yeah.
There's a black line there, if you can see that.
So you just take that out, and then I've used a chopstick here, but you could also use just a toothpick, and you just kind of slip that underneath the black part and kind of scoop it out. And then, so that's it. That's kind of simple. And then you would put that into here. And so I've done this ahead of time for you to make this shrimp paste. But not only is this a very happy dish, but you can also work out any anger that you may have been harboring all week. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so of course you chop it up. And traditionally, I think my dad, I mean, he would probably be upset with me that I used a food processor. But traditionally, you're supposed to kind of chop it, and it's gonna turn into a bit of a paste. And then you're supposed to kind of scoop it up, fold it over itself, and continue doing this and chopping it up. And you can get really loud and angry. Work out it's a bit of a workout.
I've seen this done at the sushi store, you know, when they're doing sushi preparation. I've seen the chefs use this technique to get the fish or the sushi ingredients really finely chopped.
Yeah, and then the key with this is just, it's gonna give you that bouncy texture, which is gonna go really well complementing the pepper. And so this is, we call it one of three treasures. So if you were to go for dim sum with your family, you're gonna have the three treasures where it has kind of the shrimp or fish paste that goes inside of the peppers. And so it could be the pepper, it could be eggplant, it could be kind of the inside of a tofu. And so it's very delicious. You'll find it's very common. And so since I've done this, I'm just gonna move this over. And the ingredients, so I actually took this recipe and I've actually modified it a little bit because where it asked for salt, I actually used some aromatics, and then I added some ginger and some garlic, and this is going to add a lot of flavor without the salt. I'm just gonna add that in here. This is optional. I've added a little tiny bit of sugar. And then I've added some aromatic sesame oil. So this is super flavorful, and you don't need a lot, but it's delicious. And there's no salt to this. I'm gonna add a little bit of cornstarch, because that's also gonna hold everything together.
So you're basically kind of making a dough filling, right? Because you've got the moisture, you've got some protein, and then you've got the flour, basically.
Yeah, and then you put a little bit of water also to hold it together. And so I've just, I would put this in the food processor and put it all together. And I've also added some other flavorings like the green onion and also the cilantro. So I've just popped that in here as well.
If you were doing this the traditional way, Tanya, would you be chopping it all up on that cutting board?
I would probably just chop up all the shrimp and then mix it all together. But in the food processor, I just find that it does mix it all together really, really well. And so now you would just kind of meld it all together.
I'm gonna get
I actually find it works better when things are super finely chopped, and then you give it a little bit of time.
Would you use this as a dumpling filling too?
Oh yeah, there's no rules.
There's
no rules.
Great.
And so traditionally, I would say we have used, say, pork and shrimp put together, and then you would put Napa cabbage in there, you put ginger, garlic, green onion, and then you could put some rice wine in there if you want to.
Wow,
Yeah.
There's so much flavor, and you never said salt once. Like all of this is just natural, inherent flavors of food.
Exactly, and the thing is, like, this recipe compared to, say, an original recipe that you would find online, it's about half the salt.
Right, right. I think maybe they add soy sauce because it's just easy to create flavor, right? It's easy to salt food, especially in, you know, if you're commercial cooking or large-scale cooking in a restaurant, it just creates a lot of great flavor, but at the cost of a lot of salt. But when you, like you say, are doing this at home, you can definitely adapt these flavors.
You can definitely adapt it to how you see fit. And then in terms of soy sauce, I mean, it is kind of a staple in Asian cooking. And you can definitely choose low sodium soy sauce. So you're gonna get about a 30% savings there if you're gonna be using low sodium soy sauce. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just demonstrate. You wanna pack it to have the most happiness in here. So you're just kind of putting this in here. I'm just cleaning up the edges. So I've done a few of these, and then we can start the...
I've got the oil hot for you here. Can you show us how you fry it?
Oh yeah,
Fry it up,
that's important, because I need a lesson in that.
So we put it in on medium heat.
Yes.
And then go ahead. We're gonna do the fish side down.
So Sean, we'll need a shot of the face down effect, right? Like you want to actually grill this with the shrimp side down, which again feels counterintuitive, right? You're like, oh no, there goes the filling. But that's why you had the cornstarch, so that you could paste the filling essentially to the pepper.
So I'm hoping I did enough of it so that it doesn't fall out, right? So we'll see how it goes. But a nonstick pan that is on medium heat would work out really well. And then because, these peppers, the skin is actually a little bit thicker. So after you have the fish side or the shrimp side down kind of until it's golden brown, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes. And if you have a lid, we can actually put that on top because the steam is gonna help that.
You could probably just borrow that lid if you wanted to.
So
it's a bit bigger, but gets the point across.
Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and do that, and then for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you flip it onto the other side, and then if you find that the peppers are not quite as soft as you would like, just add a splash of water and put the lid on.
Oh, okay, kind of poach them a bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, so kidney is these are my grandpa's kidney stones. They're very precious. Kidney is a bone in your back that helps you turn.
I don't know, to be honest.
They don't know kidneys are vital, do you? Get the facts at kidney.ca.
For the sauce, once this is done, then all the sauce is the black bean garlic paste that we have here. And then we have some garlic here as well. So we'll saute the garlic, we'll add in a bit of water, cornstarch, and black bean sauce into the same pan. You don't need to wash it, which is great. And then you can put it into a little dish on the side to serve with your dish.
We've just using canola oil, right? And basically you just want high heat oil because you're doing the frying. So you wouldn't want to use something like the sesame oil or an olive oil because it's going to have too low of a smoke point. So when we're picking our oils for frying, you want a canola or a vegetable oil or avocado, something with a higher smoke point so that you can fry it without smoke. She's got a great hood fan, but you don't want to smoke out your kitchen.
The canola oil is also a great profile for heart health, and many of us are, watching over our heart health as well. So it's got a higher profile of monounsaturated fatty acids, which are really, really good for your heart. So despite what the rap that canola gets, right, because it sometimes gets a bad rap, it's one of the top oils to use for your health.
And it's not as expensive. Avocado oil is way more pricey than the canola oil.
Yeah. And the smoke point, like you said, it's very convenient for, say, stir fries or this. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm just going to check on it.
It smells so good. We really wish there was smell-o-vision in some of these cooking shows.
Really, oh, look at that beautiful non-burnt top. I did burn my try at it.
The key is the cornstarch underneath, right?
Yeah, and that's okay. The thing is, like, it's all going in the same place.
It's all going in the same place.
Yeah.
And it's all delicious.
It's all delicious. And then if you want to go for extra bonus points, what you can do is there's some parts here that are not quite brown. You could just kind of toss it that. You could tilt it. But today, we're just going to go for ease.
Perfect.
So we'll just do that. And then I'm just going to add just a splash of water in there. And then
I love the smell of the peppers.
Like it is dancing.
It
like
is
you
dancing.
Said.
Everything I'm making today is dancing.
Here.
All right.
While we're doing that, Tanya, or do you want me to plate it? And then you can tell us why we're all wearing red today and why everything's decorated in red.
Yeah, so red is a very lucky color. And so you're going to find everything in red, and it's really fun because then you're going to have decorations in red, everybody's wearing red, and so it is the year of the rabbit as well. And so you would think that the rabbit is very docile and very quiet, but rabbits are actually known for being very clever. And if you don't know that every year there's actually a bit of a horoscope for each of the different 12 animals. And so it's actually a fun time to go through that with your friends and family to see kind of, what does the year hold for me? I mean, there's always things that you read that would work and not work, but it is still fun to watch.
I did check them. I can't use chopsticks,
what
but
can we expect for the
salt.
year of the rabbit in terms of, like, what are some of the key things?
So it's interesting because depending on which animal you are, it's different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It depends on your year.
Yeah, and so, I feel like I can't quite tell you because usually I go over that with my mom.
Right. And it's unique to the person.
It's unique to the person. It's unique to the year that you're born. So even though my entire family, so I was born in the year of the rat, same as my husband, and so is my son.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll throw this in here. Thanks, Anja.
No problem. It's splattering. As you can see, I moved my hands a few times. It is.
So
and I think what we are
bit.
also kind of looking at here with this theme of Lunar New Year is that you have to take a minute out of the therapeutic realm and just enjoy food.
Right.
Really take this time to appreciate the importance of this richness of culture and not try to worry too much about this and that. Just take a minute to enjoy. As you can see, the way we've done it, we have everything so nicely portioned. So really, you can eat anything and everything on a kidney-friendly diet. It's really about just knowing your portions and controlling your ingredients. But joyful eating is definitely possible, and you don't have to sit out, right, next time your family celebrates something.
No, and I mean, in most households, we just kind of cook with our heart, not necessarily measuring everything. And I think just to add on to what you were saying, it's just, this year might be more about thinking about abundance. What can we add to our plate instead of what to take away? And so I think it just adds that joy. Okay, so we've sauteed some of this garlic and we've added the black bean paste. And I've just had some water with a bit of cornstarch just kind of mixed in together. And we're gonna add that on here. And we're gonna mix. I'm just gonna grab this one for me here. Mix this a little bit.
You know, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that might be good. And then
This smells so good.
Tally, that's the next invention.
It's like aromatherapy.
so you could have this as thick or thin as you want.
Based on how much cornstarch you
Yeah,
put
and
in.
cornstarch
and how
and
long you
water.
cook it.
Yeah. So it's very fast. I love that I don't have to clean the
Pan.
clean the pan. Yeah, exactly. And then what I like is that that's it. That's really it.
Wow.
And so typically for the sauce, they ask for things like oyster sauce or soy sauce, but I've just replaced that with garlic, and I think it's plenty flavorful already. So I'm just gonna add this to here, and I've added it purposely to a different plate so that you could actually decide how much of the sauce that you want to add onto the dish.
Wonderful. This is so beautiful.
When you're done with your old vehicle, you might be looking for a quick and trustworthy solution. Kidney Car is the answer. It's fast and free, but the best of all, you'll feel great knowing you've helped Canadians affected by kidney disease. Avoid the hassle. We take care of it all, from towing to recycling or even resale. When your car is no longer wanted, Kidney Car is Canada's choice to tow away your worries. Donate at kidneycar.ca.